Okay, so I like my Steam Deck a good bit. It can run pretty much everything at, decent graphics and can do it all for a pretty good price. However, simply due to the operating system that it runs being sort of a version of Linux, there are a couple of games that just actually don't work on the Steam Deck. Most notably, the new Call of Duties, such as the new Modern Warfare 2 and 3, COD Warzone, which is part of Modern Warfare, Fortnite, and a couple other games. You can sideload these games through different launchers and things on like the SteamOS operating system, but the games just won't work because the anti-cheat won't be able to verify that you aren't using cheating devices. Which brings us to my Steam Deck in its current state. So about a month ago, my Steam Deck pretty much crashed and bricked and I couldn't do anything with it. And trying to force it into the BIOS wouldn't do anything either. For whatever reason, it turned out my SSD died, and that was preventing it from booting into the BIOS and forcing it into the BIOS and booting off of any flash drives or anything like that. And this is just a little Windows 10 install, but after removing that SSD, it stopped freaking out, it wasn't bricked anymore, and I installed Windows 10 on it. I know there's a lot of controversy regarding installing Windows on the Steam Deck because, oh, the performance will be worse and this and that, and it's just not that optimized, which I can fully agree it's not, but you can do so much more. There are many, many drawbacks to using Windows on a Steam Deck as opposed to the SteamOS distribution. One of the most notable, especially if you have to get off your game at a moment's notice, is you cannot put it to sleep and suspend and like keep your game open. It does work for some applications, but on Windows, whenever you put it to sleep, it sort of removes the SD card, so when you boot it back up, if your game was on the SD card, it'll just crash. Aside from that, there really aren't any major issues that I've noticed so far though, aside from Windows just being Windows. So of course everything works as you'd expect, the mouse, the buttons, all those different things. For any game that is on Steam, such as, just for example, I own Doom Eternal on Steam, the button inputs and everything just automatically work and you can just play. For non-Steam games, you do have to do a bit of tweaking and funny stuff. So this application, SWICD, or SWICD, whatever you want to call it, I'll link it down below. For non-Steam games such as Fortnite, this allows you to translate your button inputs to a Xbox controller so that those games can detect it. So what you want to do before using SWICD, you have to close Steam or any other things that may detect input, because then it'll sort of double up, and then go over there and open the app. Once the app is open, you won't get a pop-up or anything, it just goes to the tray. But if you want to access the settings, you tap it in the tray and then there's the settings. Basically, you just keep all this on the default profile, and then the lizard mode settings, the two boxes on top, you just tap both of those boxes and then you're good to play basically. That disables the mouse input and such, so you won't be able to navigate like that, but you can just tap your way to your game and you'll be fine. I haven't tested that many games since installing Windows on my Steam Deck, so I can't exactly speak on performance losses at this point, but overall, Fortnite performs very well on Steam Deck, especially compared to the fact that it cannot run at all on Steam Deck on Linux. So as far as load times are concerned, I have operating system and stuff on the main SSD, and pretty much every game, including Fortnite, on my 1TB SD card. And this is because Windows isn't quite as lightweight, but unlike SteamOS, the fan will never necessarily stop spinning. The fan will pretty much always be spinning, and under load playing a game, fan is actually quite loud. I feel like you could probably retune that, but I think it's more of the resources being used more on Windows as opposed to SteamOS or Linux. Okay, so we're on the main lobby of Fortnite here. That took maybe a minute or two to open, not terribly long. Definitely would be better on a full-fledged gaming PC or like a PS5 or something, but really not that bad. But with the SWICD application or whatever running, this just detects as a Xbox controller, so just everything basically works how it should. We are running windowed full screen at 800p, VSync on, frame rate limit at 60 FPS, DirectX 12 instead of DirectX 11 or performance, with quality preset set to medium. So basically we're running medium preset with just a little bit of tweaks, and with that in gameplay we can hold about 60 FPS. Compared to the Nintendo Switch's abysmal graphics and only 30 FPS, I think it's pretty cool. It's a little small, so I don't know if you guys can see, but we're holding about 60 FPS with drops into the 50s, about 51. And we're just going to kind of drop just anywhere. Dropping in, the frame rate isn't going to be locked to 60 because obviously we're dropping in. It's a little more intensive. Probably could drop this to all those settings, but on medium, once you're on the ground in actual combat, you can hold 60 FPS. Alright, so now that we're on the ground, we're pretty much holding a locked 60 FPS. Like I said, I know it's very small. I'm not too sure how well you guys can see that. I don't have any overlays or anything going right now, but we're pretty much holding 60 FPS, and this is medium preset with some tweaks, such as turning the resolution down a little bit to the performance resolution setting, but this is on DirectX 12 and not performance mode. But unlike the Nintendo Switch, you can pretty much get locked 60 FPS experience on games like Fortnite on medium settings, so it doesn't even look that bad either. And that's our first kill. But yeah, overall, I wouldn't install Windows on a Steam Deck specifically to play Fortnite, but if you were in my circumstance where basically the operating system corrupted and you had to reinstall, I would definitely say it's worth considering that you can play games like Fortnite that you typically can't run on the Steam Deck. And the game's been running smooth this entire time, and you definitely can just get some time in playing whenever you're not near your actual gaming PC or whatever. So that's Fortnite on the Steam Deck. It runs incredibly smoothly. You do have to do lots of tinkering with the Swicket driver, and as well as just getting Windows set up requires lots of drivers and is very complicated. But at the end of the day, we're holding 60 FPS on medium settings on Fortnite, and we can play it on the go. So yeah, I hope you guys found this interesting. That's all from me.